And today's topics will be taken Emma and Sophie are in charge of today's topics. So I'm getting a little bit tired. I need to sleep a little bit more. And there is the truck behind me that's making a lot of noise. So we're going to talk about abstracts, about bibliography, about submission, about how you reply to reviewers, and we'll give you examples of good ways to reply to the editors. So I will give the floor to who? To Sophie or to Emma?
Well, I can start. Emma, I've included two or three of your slides, basically. So if you want to speak about graphical abstracts,
okay.
It won't be long on abstracts anyway, because I think we have a busy session.
Yes.
Right?
Okay, you can
start. I mean, you confirm? Okay. So let me try and find. Okay, I have to share my screen.
Let's see if you can.
I cannot share my screen.
Okay. You will be able to do it very soon, right now.
Okay, let me try again. That one, yes. Yes, right. Okay, so I'd send you some homework, and I'm happy to see that many participants actually did the homework and sent it to a partner. I had a quick look, and I think my instructions were not very, very clear. Anyway, for next time, it'll be better. But most of you managed to see what I wanted to get you. So, why isn't it working? There we are. Got loads of things on my screen, sorry. So, as you probably all know, the main purpose of your abstract will be to inform your readers on your article. And this is the first thing that they actually see, right? When they connect to a website or a journal, or even start reading in a paper version of your article. It's the first thing that readers see, but it should be written after. That's the final stage of the writing process, basically. It has to be short. That's the definition of an abstract. And as some of you saw it when they compared the three abstracts I sent, there are usually 4 or 5 main sections, which actually correspond to those that you're going to use in your article. Okay, the instruction, methods, results, discussion, or problem methods, etc. So I thought it would be interesting to see, or to get back to one of the abstracts I sent, which is the second one, if I remember well. I don't know if all of you managed to read this. I thought it was quite a good example, because you clearly see the structure of clearly see what an abstract should look like. I'm going to use a color code now to see the different sections. So the first one, as many of you managed to see, is the presentation of the main topic and the main problem, okay? In 1 or 2 sentences. The second phase, or the second part, would be the explanation of the method used. And here, okay, we see that the author writes using secondary data from diverse sources. This paper explores. There are many different ways of introducing this part. I could provide you with a list of useful structures and language, examples of specific vocabulary used in these sections, if some of you are interested, okay? Such lists exist. I'm not a big fan of lists, but anyway, I could send them to you if you want. That's the second part. And probably the most important part of the abstract is the one where you actually, develop to a certain point what you found out through your research, okay? With such structures as the analysis reveals, etc. You cannot give too much detail, because otherwise the word count will be too high. But you have to go straight to the point. And this is probably the most difficult part, being able to keep it short and simple, as we say. Okay. And well, the last one being this one. Okay. When you actually conclude and introduce maybe new research or recommendations, just like here, equal attention should be paid. Okay. You could clearly see in the language used that we're changing sections really. I tend to say that there are very often common features to these abstracts, and that we use the present tense, okay, to introduce the subject, and the past tense to explain the research, and then the future. And this is clear in the abstracts I sent the participants, the future or advice in the last part. So if you go back to the 3 abstracts I sent to you, you could clearly see the 4 different sections. All this will be available to you later on, okay? I will send you these slides. So to sum up, this is what we get to. Emma, if you want to add anything, don't hesitate.
No, I think that's really nice how you've separated it out into the different color bands, because that really helps. And I totally agree that the different sections, and also the elements of language that you use that indicate the switching of the different sections. I think that's really great. It's cool.
So I've highlighted, I don't know if you clearly see it here, but the main expression, well, the most common expressions you can find, or phrases that we use. It's always like the analysis reveals, the research shows, the findings suggest, using the passive voice as well. It's not clear in this one, but in this article, this point is highlighted or emphasized. Okay, all these structures here, but I'm not going to develop. I will be. I could provide you with material if the participants want. Okay. And
I think it's like you say, this is one of the sections that has the most formalism, is most formalized in the structure. And so in the end, in fact, it's probably one of the easiest parts to write in terms of structure. It's just you need to have finished the rest of the writing, like you said, before you can get to writing that. So,
this is where I borrowed one of your slides, Emma, because I thought the process was really well explained in clear terms. So as we said, you have to write your abstract, so it's better to write it at the end, because you will need to identify specific points in your article in order to be able to write the abstract. I would recommend using these 4 sections I mentioned, the 4 or 5, because, well, I get back to this one. There are actually 5. Okay, results and interpretation. I put them in the same section here, but using a kind of a frame, maybe, and put the major, well, identify the major points and put them in these sections, and then it will help writing the entire abstract. So. So yes, objectives and conclusions, the results, everything should fit in a single paragraph, and this is when it becomes difficult. You should not, and I read abstracts that actually included these elements, but I think it's not, well, it's absolutely not necessary to include too much background information. There's no need for detailed literature review or detailed description of methods. Okay, you have to go straight to the point for your reader to know exactly what's going to be in your research article, okay, so that they know whether they want to read it or maybe keep it for later or etc. One important point is to check the guidelines of the paper you're going to publish in. There's always a section, it's called guidelines for authors, etc., in which you will find details about the bibliography and references as well, and I'm going to talk about it later on. Most of the time, there's a section, a about abstracts and about what the reviewers will expect from the writers. So it's a good idea to check before you submit anyway. This is something you've been told in, I think. And a good idea would be to give your abstract to somebody else, somebody who doesn't know anything about your field, to see if they can understand the point you're trying to make, and to see if it makes sense, of course. Okay, so if we manage to combine, follow the structure, combine useful language structures like specific expressions, and if you manage to keep it short and it makes sense, then your abstract should be okay. Are there any questions at this point, or anything anybody would like to add? No? Okay. Emma, would you like to talk about the graphical abstract section here?
Yes. So it's with the online journals, it's becoming much more common to have a graphical abstract. Now, the graphical abstracts have several advantages. It doesn't replace the written one, so don't think you can get around not doing written abstract, because you'll have to do that. But you can also do these graphical abstracts, and so they're like images and schemes, conceptual diagrams, sometimes a graph of what the work says. So it can be like maybe a conclusion diagram. It can be many different things, but you need to make sure that it's pretty, that it's attractive, and that it's not ugly or misleading. And this is where it's super important to know someone who is very artistic, because I have the artistic abilities of a snail. And I know this, and so I never construct my own graphical abstracts. I ask one of my co-authors to do it, because I know I am capable of doing something that's so ugly nobody will read the article. And so here we have an example of one, and as you can see, it's a study on water contamination. People not having access to sanitation in rural uplands. And so we can see on the left-hand side a diagram of how the interactions between rainfall and the height of the groundwater, and how when you get too much rain, well, the latrines overflow and it contaminates the water, or in areas where there are no latrines, you know, people don't have access to toilets, and so when it rains, all of the matter on the slopes, they go into the river. So that's on the left side. So you can see, okay, this is something about that links hydrology and sanitation. And on the other side, we have a graph that comes from the article itself, where we show that when you have small amounts of low numbers of humans and animals in a catchment, you have low numbers of E. coli, bacteria on the cell surface, and when you have more. So, you know, when you look at this graphic, you can see, you can almost understand what's going to come in the article. So that's one example. Can you change, Sophie? Did you put both of them? Yeah. And here is another one. This is more of a conceptual diagram that brings together all of the different elements. So in this article, they calculated the relative percentages of each action to the total number of bacteria in the water, in the stream. And so you can see these types of diagrams, they're really quite informative, and a lot of online journals now require them. Before it was only sort of recommended, but now I have noticed more and more it's a requirement to submit a graphical abstract. It's something that might take a little bit of time, but I recommend using the time well to make something that's attractive, because it'll get your paper read as well. And if people read it, then they're going to cite it, and maybe they'll contact you to develop collaboration. So, you know, it's worth spending some time on that. Okay, I finished my graphical abstract section.
But Emma.
Yes?
Yeah, sorry, Stefan, I spoke first.
It's you the boss, eh?
Yeah. But you're the supreme leader, so
Yes.
tell me, where would you position this graphic? At the beginning, right after the written abstract, before?
No, you it's only ever shown online. No, so when you will submit your article to the journal, you have to provide a series of files and say what type of file they are. And one of the files required will be graphical abstract.
Okay.
And when you go onto the website, they give the title, the co-authors, and sometimes they don't. You don't see the written abstract straight away. You have to click on it so it is revealed, but you see the graphical abstract.
Okay.
And it's you know, it's like what you say in France, produit d'appel. It's like the, you know, the shiny things in the supermarket that attract you to go in.
La tête de gondole.
It's the same thing.
Right.
Yeah.
Oh, it's interesting. I didn't know that. Yeah.
Yeah. I see some of you guys don't know the graphical abstracts. Go have a look in some journals and you'll see them. Particularly Springer, the big evil editing house. They have made them a requirement for submission on a lot of their, well, it's the ones I know of, the hydrology journals.
And I suppose that you will find some designer who specialize in helping researchers to create these graphical abstract, because as you mentioned, you really need some skills, specific skills to draw. I mean, it's not that easy, and to represent in an easy way complex things.
Awesome.
I can imagine for papers in human sciences, you know, how complicated it can be to represent things like that. I wonder if it's...
You can also, if you have the image rights for photographs, sometimes I see photographs with people, maybe with their back, so you can't see their face, or if it's somebody you know who has given the right and given the authorization to use it. I have seen that sometimes. You can have... I've seen photos. Sometimes the hydrology journals, it's photographs. It would depend. It depends the subject. It has to have a link to the subject in the paper. It shouldn't just be some kind of intellectual digression with a photo, like a photo of my lake in Scotland, that has nothing to do with the study. So, you know what? I hadn't thought about that, but I bet you there are people who are like startups that are helping researchers do this kind of figures, because this is Olivier Ribolzi who does this, my colleague, who is the first author, but in general I avoid trying because I know it's going to be bad.
Okay, good.
Yes, Stefan.
No, I just want to add that I think is not appropriate to add any references in the abstract you have to write, because I saw it sometime and it's a thing you cannot do.
Yeah, it's true. I mean, it's not very useful, and some journals even forbid this. I mean, they mention it in the guidelines for authors. There's no need for references or quotations or anything in the abstract. Exactly. Thanks, Stefan, for adding this. I was going to say that graphical abstracts could be useful. I mean, just drawing could be useful even before you write the abstract itself, because it helps you put your ideas together and sort of summarize the whole article. And it's a nice way to do it. I was just thinking about this. It could be part of the writing abstract process as well. just for yourself. I mean, if you're able to represent graphically what is included in your article. I was just thinking about this. I don't know, Emma, what you think about this?
Yes, it's a good idea because it helps you structure, and that's we're all for structure. So
also because some people are more visual and see things and are able to explain things graphically more easily. And I think it's important to take this into account.
Yeah, I wholly agree with that.
Okay, so we had a question in the conversation section. I have recognized that the elements in the abstract are each part short paragraph of each part in the full paper. Is this correct? Yeah, exactly. I mean, this is what I said at the beginning. You can recognize the same structure, but it's only shorter in the abstract, in the article. And so if you remember these, the 4 letters I mentioned earlier, I'm going to go back to the slides here quickly, and then we'll move on to the references. Some people talk about PMRC or IMRD. Okay, if you remember these 4 letters, then you'll have the structure of the abstract in mind. Okay, so are there any other questions? No? Shall we move on to quickly the references and bibliography? I'm sure all of you are quite familiar with this. There's no problem, but we had questions, if I remember well, during webinar 2 or 3
Sure.
about the format. Was it number 2, number 3? Can't remember. Anyway, we had a question about the type of rules of recommendations we should follow. So Stefan said something, sorry.
No, I say I'm not sure that people in general are very familiar about how to write and present nicely a bibliography.
And the references. Oh, I thought it would be,
Yeah, it's my
I thought it would only be revision for most of them. So there are 2 types actually of references. There can be in text, so in the article itself, or at the end as a bibliography or list of references. Well, there are many norms and standards and systems. So once again, you have to check in the guidelines for authors what is expected from you. What is important is to be consistent. Okay, once you've chosen a system, a norm, then you have to stick to it throughout the article. Okay, this is really important. Whatever standard you use, it can be APA, MLA. I'm not that familiar with scientific articles. So if you guys know more about this, you can just well, correct me or say what you like to add. I took an example here from one of the articles. The abstracts were, well, I sent 3 abstracts and I took that from, I don't know, I think it's the 2nd article, just to illustrate the type of references you can have in the text itself. If you have one author, it's usually name, okay, author's name and date. If you have one author, 2 authors, more than 2, okay, oops. So, and they usually classify, well, it depends. Here it's not true, but they're usually classified in, well, ordered alphabetically and chronologically. Okay, so this is important. So that's for the in-text references. And as for the bibliography, same again, you will always find the same elements: the name, year, title, chapter, article, the title of the journal, the issue number, the pages, or the publisher if it's a book. But all this, it should be mentioned in the guidelines. So a good idea would be to check and see the examples that are given by the reviewers or the editors of the journal. Something interesting to know is that there are plugins or specific software that can help you manage your references and your bibliography. And sometimes you can simply retrieve the citation, the reference, put them in one of these plugins or software, and then they order the references according to the guidelines. If you check, I think Elsevier and I can't remember, there's another publisher that does this, recommends using Zotero or Mendeley, and then you just have to enter the title of the article or the book, the author, and then everything is organized and everything is put into the right format. And in the end, you just have to copy and paste your list of references at the end of the article. Would Emma, Stefan, Benjamin maybe like to add anything to this?
No, I just have one question, maybe. You know, sometimes in some articles, you see 5-10 pages of references. And I just wonder if you need only when you build your bibliography, to insert only the material you use and during you have in your paper only, because you know I don't know if there's any rules about that, but it's a bad sometimes it's a bad feeling to see a lot of references at the end, but you just wonder why it's like this.
I think it's more like a recommendation to stick to the material you actually used for the research you were talking about. There's a rule. You should mention all in the list of references in the bibliography at the end of your article, all the references that you've cited in the text.
Only. Okay. All and only.
All and only, yeah.
Okay.
Only, I'm not sure. All, that's for sure. That's the rule.
Yeah.
Only, yeah. It may depend, I guess, on the journals and, of course, on the impression you want to leave. Because if you said, if your article is like 4 pages and your bibliography is as long, yes, you can ask yourself why. Is it possible that all these articles and books and chapters have been used? I mean, you can doubt, I suppose. Emma, I don't know if you have specific information about this.
Yes, I recommend, like in the example you give, there are 3 references for each phrase or subject. Yeah. I recommend not putting more than 3. Don't put like 5 or 6 or 7. And often journals will say, no, take away, reviewers will say, no, take away all those references. You can stick with 3. And sometimes in the instructions to authors, the journal will give a limit. In my area, there are only maybe 1 or 2 specific journals that allow you to put extra references in the reference section. When you say extra, it's those you have not cited in the text. And it's specific journals where they allow you to put a little comment about, so you have the body of the text, you have your references, and then inside the references, you will cite a reference and saying this article was interesting because it looks at, I don't know, carbon dioxide concentration, something like that. It's like Nature review articles is the journal. And it's the only one I know that allows you to put extra references in. But as I say, I don't read a lot of social science or literature or language documents. I should read more. That I will delegate. And so, yeah. And I'm a big fan of these reference softwares. They make your life so much easier. And now they have Zotero, which is free. So I recommend getting that and using it. I use EndNote, which is just because I'm a dinosaur. But
Zotero is quite useful. It's a plugin actually, and you add it to your web browser, And when you find an interesting reference or you read an online article, then you just have to click and it gets the reference and classifies it into your list, and then that's it.
Yeah, it's really super.
I really recommend using them. It makes life easier.
It's clear.
I have just a comment and a question. The comment is that we have done a training on Zotero at the last training session for WANAC, and you will find material online on the website wanac.eu. You will find all the material that have been used for this training. So if you're not 100% familiar with Zotero, you can go there and it should be helpful. And the question is, I was wondering if online journals developed some more, some nicer way to present bibliographies. Similarly to the graphical abstract, do we have a way maybe to have links directly to the paper or the book that is quoted, or I don't know, maybe just a pop-up with the reference? Yeah.
Well, most of them actually include links now.
Okay.
And with the UI
they have
thing,
hyperlinks. Yeah. Most of them to ones that are findable. Yeah. You just have to click on it, and that's also where the Zotero comes in really interesting, because it goes straight into the system.
Yeah, and in the example I gave here, you even have the reference. If you click on this, then you go to the bibliography, so you have the full reference available here, and then there's usually a link to the entire art, the online art. Yeah.
And so in the fight, Mendeley and Zotero definitely won. I'm
more familiar with Zotero. I haven't tried Mendeley yet, but I know
Mendeley has been bought by Elsevier.
That's it.
So you know where that's going.
Exactly. So they recommend using it, yes. But I think Zotero is quite useful. Well, it's user-friendly and easy to manage.
It's also, it's open access. It's open access is not the word, but it's like R. Everybody can use it. Everybody can comment on it. It's so no, I really recommend Zotero over Mendeley. I use EndNote because I'm just lazy, and it's what I've been using for 25 years, and there's no other real reason. It's just I'm lazy, and I am a dinosaur.
Okay.
I have one more comment only from my side, that when I quite familiar with one topic, the bibliography is not maybe the first. I will start with the abstract, but it's the second maybe important thing I check. Is very important. So you can see how it's very important. The review of the literature, etc., is crucial, just to show that you are aware about what you are talking about.
Definitely, and that you know where you stand compared with the others. Yeah,
I totally agree. And I also, when I'm reviewing an article, one thing that makes me crazy, it's another one of my little points that I check. When you, so if you use Zotero, you will not have this problem. But if you write your bibliography by yourself and you haven't written it, but you have copied and pasted from other sources, the reference, make sure they are all the same size and the same font, and the same format. Because that's like really annoying when they're not done correctly. So please don't think that it's just the references I don't care. You need to check them too.
Definitely, yes. Okay, so I'm going to answer the questions in the conversation section, and maybe we can, I'm finished with this. I think I kept it short and simple, or as short as simple and as simple as possible. So I think if you need to move on to another section, I don't know if Emma wants to take over from me now. Talking about submission process and so on, maybe?
Yes, we can look at the submission process if you want. If you want
plan.
to cut your voila, and I will try and find. I will do that whilst you answer the questions if you want about the abstract. I need to partager mon écran.
Yeah, the question was, is it possible to start? Well, I've answered the question about citations and quotations and references in the abstract, so this is done. Is it possible to start beginning with debate about the different kinds of a good abstract in social sciences? Oh, how can I answer this? I suppose the question was about introducing the abstract with the debate, the ongoing debate in the field, I guess. I suppose we could say yes, summing up the current debate on one specific topic at the beginning of the abstract would be possible, because it's background information.
Tushanok, would you like to detail your question a little bit more, just to make it easier to answer?
I think I've understood the question, but it's, I think this was the idea.
But if we start the beginning, you mean the abstract or the beginning of the paper?
We'll see if we have details about the question.
Tushanok, are you there?
Well, we'll see. Yes, the beginning of the abstract, okay.
Okay, okay.
Yeah, well, as I said, yes, you could probably very briefly sum up the current debate on a specific topic at the beginning of the abstract, but without giving too much detail, as usual.
If it is useful to explain the problem, yeah.
If it introduces the reason why you wrote and you started the research on your subject, yeah, it has linked anyway to what you're going to write. In the abstract and the article. And are there different kinds of a good abstract in social sciences? Well, I would say that if you stick to the structure and if you keep in mind the objectives of an abstract, then it should be good. It's quite difficult to say what the perfect abstract is. I could provide you with more examples in social sciences, maybe. Why not? Okay. I keep an eye on the conversation section.
Okay. So when you have written your article, everything is ready, you have to submit it. And it's often via a website now. Now, it sounds like it could be quick and simple via a website, but it's anything but. Because you need to, well, first you identify the journal, you log in, and then can you see my page here with an editorial manager, which is the website? Yeah, okay, cool. So you see you've logged in, and you would go and click submit a new manuscript. So my internet is slow, so it's going to take a little bit. Right, and you have to select article type. Oh, look, we've got loads. Qu'est-ce qu'on va faire? Oh, let's do an original article. So you can link to your ORCID number. Remember the first day I told you about names and your name format? Well, if you have your ORCID number, you can do that. I have one, but it's going to go and look on the website for it, and it'll take more time. So proceed. Right. Please upload your manuscript files. Blah 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 blah. You can put, and they give you lots of instructions here. You have also on these websites instructions to authors with submission guidelines. Have a look. You have the types of paper they select, the submission, title page. This gives you all the format. Electronic supplementary material you should put in, language editing, of course. and all of that. So let's have a look. They give you also guidelines on authorship. So you guys can look at that. Let's have a look. Manuscript submission. You have questions that relate to ethics, to permissions, to different items, the text. You have instructions on the format of the text. This really depends on the journal. So you have to go and look at the individual author instructions for the journal. The other day, Stefan asked me about footnotes. So here we can look, we can have footnotes. These guys accept footnotes, so that's okay. Always use footnotes instead of endnotes. Footnotes are at the bottom of the page. Endnotes are right at the end of the article. It's kind of, it's quite intuitive by the name. You have to do your acknowledgement section. And here they also give you a format for how you need to do your references. So that we were just talking, these guys, their format is that you can give, in the big reference section, 6 authors should be given before étal. Étal is when you have a lot of authors. They give you the format, and as Sophie was saying, look, here we go. You have a style file that you can download if you use EndNote, and Zotero has this as well. So it's fine. Tell you how to format your figures, your photos, what they call combination art. So you have all of that. So we'll do a fake submission here. What are we going to put? Not formatting. No, maybe not formatting. So it's uploading a PDF. You guys will do this with your one. You have to upload everything. They accept a single file for an initial submission, but afterwards you will have to separate the files. Okay, so it's cool. No, not ready to proceed yet. Okay, you change your file order and everything. Voila, proceed. No. You have to add the classifications. So you can see there's loads of, I don't know, let's call it ecology. Undo, submit. Voila, blah, 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 proceed. The thing that everybody hates, you have to give names of reviewers often. And this, as you can see, it's red. So this means it blocks. So before you get to submitting, make sure that you have some ideas of the names of reviewers that you want to suggest. Consult your co-authors, consult some colleagues. Don't pick people who are your best friend. Don't pick people with whom you have recently published. There is no guarantee that the editor, when he sends the article out to review, will take these names. But if you put names of people for whom there are evident and clear conflicts of interest, you know, it's not going to work. They will see. You can see really easily. So we need to put in some reviewers. Is he going to let me go? Yes, he is. You can see it gives you a timeline here of the things that you've done. Right. Has this material or data been submitted? So the question of ethical questions that you have to reply. Has this material, blah, blah, blah. I'm going to say no here. Answer character counts. You need to know how many words you have. It's not going to a special issue. Is the, here we go. This is nice. I like this now. This is new. They didn't have this before. They're asking if the corresponding author is a student who has defended their master's and PhD student within 3 years or is currently a student. So yeah, I'm still a PhD student. I put in my university. Oops, University of London. That'll do. Et voilà. Maybe he's going to say the university doesn't exist. Please enter any additional comments that you would like to give. Now here, this is where you will put your letter to the editor. Don't put that. I'm just doing this so there's some text. I'm not going to submit this, so don't worry. At least I hope I'm not going to submit it. They're going to think I've gone mad. Here we go. Afterwards, you have to fill in the title, the abstract you need to put in. You need to put in your keywords, your authors, your funding information. And when all of that is good, you will click on this guy, Build PDF for approval. It will construct a PDF with all of the information that you have put in there. Now, we all are tempted, and then once you've got the PDF, it will say submit. I'm not going to that page because I don't want to fill in all of this just now. I recommend not submitting straight away. You download the PDF, you read the PDF, you wait 24 hours minimum, you reread the PDF, and you correct all of the things that are not good, because I can guarantee there's going to be mistakes. And only after you have corrected, you submit. For me, after the first PDF is built, in general, it's 3 days before I click submit, because I reread it several times. Because the PDF that you have constructed, it goes to the editor. They look at it and say, okay, right, that's okay. Good subject, good format, we'll send it on. And then they send it to the reviewers. And there is nothing worse than, as a reviewer, getting a PDF that is badly constructed. I have already sent the PDF back to the editor and said, please can you contact the authors and ask them to recheck the article, because sometimes the same figure appears 3 or 4 times. The abstract is like half cut off. Sometimes the references are bizarre. So please, I really recommend that. I know often we're so happy that we finished and we're in a rush and we want to submit, but no, don't do it. Okay, so that's submission, how to submit your article. Let me see, update my info journal of your main menu. Main menu. I'm going to delete it. So now, incomplete submission. This is action links, remove submission. The damage is removed. And they send you an email. He's just sent me an email that I have deleted my submission. So there we go. Right, let me come out of this. And so I said that when you submit, you need to have a letter to the editor. The letter to the editor corresponds, the letter to the editor corresponds to, as well, to a little bit to the letter that you will write to the reviewers after you have the reviews back. So what it is, it's a letter with 1 paragraph where you say, dear editor, please find enclosed our submission that we wish to submit. This article discusses, and then you put 2 or 3 lines about what you're talking about, and then you finish with something very polite. I hope that this article is considered suitable for your journal. Sincerely yours, Benjamin Bouclet, on behalf of co-authors. You guys, I will send you an example of one of those letters. So that way you can use the forms, the formulations of English, and change it for your title and things like that. So it is 7:32. I think we can have a short break, and then we will talk about 2 points. One is replying to reviewers, and the other one is how to deal with errors after publication. So, are you there, Benjamin? Can we have a break? Or is it me who decides? Oh, it's me who decides. Oh no, he's there. And he's cut off his microphone. So we can now all go and party because the boss can't talk anymore.
Sorry, I was speaking. I had to go wake up my son, so I was not here. But of course, we can have a break. Yeah, let's
5 minutes.
A 5-minute break, yes, as usual. Okay.
And then we can go to replies to reviewers, errata, and then if you guys have some questions before we do the
presentation of the objectives.
Tout à fait. Yes.
All right.
Okay. See you all in 5 minutes.
See you in 5.
Hello, everybody. So.
All right. Time to go back. Everybody
Yes.
Here? Yes.
Yep. Voila. Okay. So I have put on the screen an example of a letter to an editor. As you can see from the date, it's one that I am preparing for a submission in the days that come. And so, when you write your letter to the editor, you put it on your institutional notes paper, if you have it. It's not an obligation.
Yeah, could you just make it bigger on your screen?
Well, absolutely. Is that better?
Yeah.
Voilà. So, institutional note paper, you have the date. Of course, you have your address. Dear Dr. Stephen Sebastian. So, my recommendation is if you don't know the grade of the person, you put professor. I know he's called Dr. Sebastian because he writes that in his email. So. And if you don't know if it's a lady or a man, you just write Dear Dr. Sebastian or Dear Professor Sebastian, and that way you can avoid falling into a trap. And you would write, please enclose you put the title for submission to the journal. Afterwards, you need to put a little bit of information on why. That should be there. About what the subject is in a very general way. And then you have to put a small paragraph which presents why your paper is interesting. You can, of course, use some of the text from the manuscript that you've written, use some phrases, but don't just do a copy paste. Make sure that you join the phrases and it looks nice. Don't just, for example, when you submit, don't just put this, here's a paper, we want to submit it to your journal, thank you very much. It won't work. That journal editors get so many submissions now. You need to put a little bit of you need to present in the best way why they should accept your article. And some journals actually ask you to reply to respond to certain questions like why this journal, why should they publish it, why is it interesting and novel. So when you read your instructions to authors, you will find that. And you should always finish with, we hope that somebody has a question. Oh, I can't see the questions. What was the question, Keith? Ah, well, I can see it now. Oh, it was nothing. Okay. So we hope that you find this data paper, this article, this manuscript suitable for publication in your journal, and look forward to having your and the reviewers' comments. No, you're not looking forward to it, but you have to say that. And then you can say, sincerely yours. If you know the name of the person, sincerely yours, or yours sincerely. If you don't, yours faithfully. And you put your name, and then you put on behalf of the co-authors. Here it's the M-Tropics team because the co-authors are the M-Tropics team. Okay. If you want, I can send you that as well as an example. So that's the type of letter that you have to write. And we shall. Right, so if you've submitted the article, it's been gone for a couple of weeks, couple of months, and then one day you open your email and you see an email from the editor. And so you read the email from the editor, and depending on what they have decided for the article, you have 5 possibilities. 1, it's rejected. It can be rejected, but with possibility to resubmit. This is new. Before, they didn't used to do this. This used to be called major revisions before. But now they do this because they have, they want to calculate, they being the editorial houses, they want to calculate want to keep as short as possible the time from submission to publication. And when they do this, reject with possibility to resubmit, it resets the clock. So this one, don't feel too bad when you get this one. This can be understood as major revisions. Then you will get major revisions, or maybe if you're lucky, you get minor revisions, or if you're super lucky, you get accept as is. Now, of the, I don't know, we must be coming up for about 200 submissions if we consider the first submission of the article, the resubmission of the article, and the revision. The articles have been revised. I must have submitted things 2,000 times, or I have been co-author. I have had once accept as is, once. And it was the famous chapter of my thesis that my PhD supervisor had revised, made me revise at least 6 times. So, you know, this guy, I will never see this one again. It's like, don't even look for that. And so what do you do when you get this email? Well, you know what, you're going to be really angry and really upset, but go and have a rant to your colleagues, go and complain, go and say the editor, they're the most stupid person in the world and they don't understand me, but you know, whatever. You have to get over that and you have to revise the article. And what you need to do is, I recommend that you wait a day or 2 or 3 or 4, but not much longer. You read carefully what the letter says, what the recommendations are, and then you decide what you're going to do. Now, me, when I get the email from the editor, if I don't see either in the title accepted, or I don't see I am pleased in the first phrase of the email, in general, I transfer it straight away to my co-authors so that they can read them. And then, you know, I wait a few days before I read it, because you know, it's not very nice knowing that people don't accept your article. In fact, it can destroy your day even. And so it's normal that you don't feel too good after this. But anyway, but don't do what I did about 2 years ago. Is I saw, I am sorry, you know, I knew it was a rejection letter and I didn't read the rest. And I left it for 2 months. And when I went back, I realized that the reviews that they sent me were for another article. They weren't for mine. The reviewer had mixed up my article with that of someone else. They were talking about tables that didn't exist in the article and figures. It was kind of weird. And if I hadn't just left that, I probably could have dealt with it much quicker. And as it was, we rewrote the article, we submitted somewhere else, and it was accepted. But don't, you know, when it's rejected, read what they've written and improve the article. So what do? When you have a reject, you revise the article, you take into account the suggestions, and you submit to another journal. Do not just submit an article to another journal without having revised it at least a bit. Because if you submit the same non-revised article, there is a chance it will go to the same reviewers. This has happened to me. I have rejected articles and they have come back like a boomerang from another journal. Of course, that makes me angry and it will make any reviewer angry. And so don't do that. It's a waste of time. Then you get reject with possibility of resubmission. This is what used to be called before electronic submission, major revisions. What do? So you revise the article carefully, taking into account the suggestions, and you resubmit it to the journal. If you choose this option, you must do as the reviewers and editor asks, or you need to have a really good reason why you don't, and you need to explain why. Now, for example, if they ask for extra experiments, and it's not possible because there was a reservoir built where the village is, where you were doing your study, and obviously you can't go back to the village anymore. So you need to explain why you cannot do what they want, and don't just give flippant, you know, type answers. You need to give a strong argument why you don't do. And then, you know, maybe it'll go to minor revisions and it'll get accepted. You need to be honest, but not, you know, with your views. If you get major revisions, you know, major revisions for me, it's almost accepted. In your head, you must consider major revisions. It's almost accepted. It's like you've got your foot in the door. You're almost there. So what do? You revise the article carefully, taking into account the suggestions of the reviewers, and then you send it back as a revised manuscript. And it's just like the other one. You have to do as they say, as they recommend. Yes. Is there a question? Maybe?
No, I think it's Com, who is having troubles with his connections.
Yes. So you revise, and as before, if you can't do it, you need to have a really good reason why. If you get minor revisions, this is when you start to celebrate, because you've got more than the foot in the door. You're almost in there. You revise the article, you do as they say, and if you can't do what they recommend, you explain why. Don't underestimate this. So don't think, oh, it's only minor revisions, I don't need to do them. Don't do that, because it can still be rejected. Make sure you show that you're listening to the reviewer's comments and that you're trying to take them into account. You have to be quite positive about this. And remember, even if you think the reviewer is wrong, it doesn't mean you're right. And don't when you reply to the reviewers, try to be positive. Don't be sneering, say, that was rubbish what you said. Don't say that. I have a friend who is somebody very, very, very nice person, But when he writes his replies to the reviewers, the tone is usually really, really dry. And sometimes it's a bit harsh. And so sometimes he asks me to reread the replies to reviewers to make them a bit more gentle. And also, if you decide to resubmit the article, you have to be honest with yourself about the paper and choose your battles wisely. Don't keep trying to submit something that has fundamental errors in it, in the fieldwork. Yeah, you need to be honest because you're only going to waste your time. Don't pit one reviewer against the other. Don't say, well, that reviewer said that, and this one says that, and the first one's right, but the second one's not. No, you can say it in a more rounded way. And as I said, do not submit the same version, unrevised version, to another journal. Always do some revision. And also you need to be polite and acknowledge the reviewer and the editor, because reviewers and editors sometimes are paid, not a lot. Reviewers are never paid. And it can take several hours to review an article. So, you know, be careful about that. I have a est-ce que c'est celui-là? Yes, it is this guy. We shall send you, or Benjamin will send you, a letter which is for an article with replies to reviewers. So partager, it's not working. There we go. With replies to reviewers. So it will be this guy. This is in the old format for the heading paper of my lab. And so you have, you know, the usual paragraph, dear Professor Chen, blah, blah, blah. We also, you can underline what you thought the comments of the reviewer were. Voila, we had a criticism that there wasn't enough data. And so we replied that this difficulty is a reflection of the difficulties in working in rural montane areas of 3 of the developing countries in Southeast Asia. This guy, you guys, will potentially be able to reuse this phrase, and you can. If you ever have a comment that you don't have enough data because, you know, you haven't been to 450 villages in northern Laos, but only to 250, you can use this type of phrase to explain why you couldn't do 450 villages. And then afterwards, you need to reply point by point to the reviewer's comments. You have many different formats of doing this. Here is one where we chose a table format because the comments were short and our replies were short. And remember, you don't just reply in here, you have to have changed the text as well. So I let you guys read that, but each time we had a reply, we would start with, we thank the reviewer for their comments. We fully agree with the reviewer. Of course, we fully agree with the reviewer. You know, I'm what you call in France a faillotte, but my articles get accepted, so you can follow my method. So you guys can do that.
A faillotte.
Yes, and I have one last point, which is something that I am particularly that I find is important to talk about. It is this one. So, your article's been published, and you're so happy you're sitting and you're reading your article because, well, you know what, you've had a bad day and you need to make yourself feel better. And so you read the article that just got accepted, and in reading it, you go, oh, but there, oh, I found an error. Oh, the decimal point is in the wrong place on the table, the units. Oh, there's a problem with the units. Or even worse, somebody comes in your office and says, hey, you know your model, you've got an error in the code. It's wrong. You go, oh, I just published that. So when that happens, you need to contact the editor, and you can publish two things. The first one is called an errata, and it's after Latin. And it's when you find errors in the printing or typing process that you didn't catch when they send you the proof. So the proof, it's like a pre-version of what they're going to publish in format. And when they send you the pre-version, the preprint, you're usually so happy you don't see any faults. You know, it's happened to me twice. And so you accept it. It's only afterwards you see the errors. And so I have two errata that I have published. One because the decimal point changed the value from 1.0 to 10.0 to 100, which of course changed considerably the calculations. So we published an errata. Another one was when they badly spelt the name of one of the co-authors. And what was the other one? The third one was a problem in units. So, it happens. And so they publish these errata. And this way it's associated to the article, and people know that there's an error and they need to take that into account. Now, sometimes you get corrigenda as well, which are when you have errors in your calculations or your data. And I have noted that it's not yet happened to me, but it will. I mean, there's a probability that sooner or later I'm going to do something stupid and not catch it. So you have to be honest, and I believe you really have to contact the editor. And this is really a reflection of your honesty. If you don't publish these, it's like lying. It's really linked as well to ethics and deontology in science. Here is a prime example of where you need to be honest, so that the mistake doesn't get carried on and on and on and on. Okay, so in this slide there is a film, a website for a film. You guys can look at that. It's by the Office of Research Integrity in America, and it's called The Lab. And you can play the role of a student, a postdoc, a lab leader, and so on, with different questions of research integrity. It's actually quite funny. So I recommend going and having a look at that. Okay, so I have finished. So I have finished. So Benjamin, you can take back the power, if you like, and tell us about the future.
Okay, sorry, I was writing an email. Yes, thank you very much, Emma. First of all, I would like to know if some of you have questions. While you are trying to find if you have questions, just some informations. All of you will have access to the material that has been presented here. I will send it in one email, or maybe I will put all the material in on the platform on Google Drive or something like that to make it easier to download. And anyway, it will be also on OneASY's website. Usually it takes maybe 2 weeks to arrive there. And as you've probably noticed, we record these webinars. There is only one, which for some reason was not, the option was not ticked. So I missed 40 minutes of recording the third webinar, but all of them are recorded, and so they will be also online on OneSE's website. So because some of you have told me that the poor quality of the connection made it complicated to understand everything. So hopefully you will be able to watch again and again and again and again the webinars, maybe before going to bed, right? To get into sleep. So no, but if you, it's quite interesting to rewatch them, particularly if because of connection problems you did not hear very well, but also because sometimes, I mean, we are just human beings, you know, with our weaknesses, etc., and we can't be 100% focused for 2 hours. So it's always useful to watch them again, and it will be also an opportunity for the maybe you missed one of the webinars because you had an unexpected commitment to honor. So it's the opportunity to watch them. So don't worry about that. I'm sorry.
It's good for the OneSE website to have a follower.
Yeah, it will make good figures. It will make good figures. This is basically the end of this first week, so of phase 1. And as you know, phase 2 of this e-training session is basically based on 3 weeks of interactions with a mentor that will be assigned to you. I would like to highlight about that different things. First of all, is that we were able to find 10 mentors, which is fantastic. And I can really tell you that you are lucky. I'm not sure you're aware of that, but it's not easy to have these high-level scientists give some of their time to support you. Most of them are under pressure of many things. Sometimes, like Emma, also administrative, or Sophie, also administrative tasks. I mean, responsibilities. So please respect that and play the game. Do your role. Do your part of the task, of the story. But in order to work efficiently, as I wrote to you in an email, I think it was Tuesday. Yeah. The first step is to define an objective for these 3 weeks of work. Basically, what will happen is that you will receive an email from me where I will set up the scheme and you will get in touch with your mentor. And the first thing you will have to do is to organize a meeting for discussing different things. The first thing you're going to have to discuss is your objective. So what do we aim in 3 weeks? Will we, how we'll reach this objective is another question. But the first thing is, what is our objective? So for some of you, the objective will be to polish the abstract. Okay, let's say you're almost done with your paper, and you just need to have a very powerful abstract, as we've seen this morning, well structured, and etc. So it's a quite simple objective, maybe not very ambitious for 3 weeks of work, but still it's fine. And then you will have the opportunity to have feedback from your mentor about what you write, and to make it probably better. For others, the objective is really because you're basically starting from scratch. You have your data and you have an idea of paper, but that's it. Who wrote me that? Oh well, Liquok, yeah. So in this case, your objective might be just to in 3 weeks to have the structure of your paper, okay, and few elements in it, or starting at least and having written the context part of it, or the discussion, I don't know. So you only know, well, only you know what is your objective, but you will have to discuss it with your mentor, because maybe because of your mentor is not familiar with the area, but is very good in the English language, for example. Maybe you will have to adapt your objective according to your mentor. So what I will ask you now is to tell us, we still have 20 minutes, you just take 30 seconds and you tell us what is your objective for these 3 weeks of work with your mentor. Okay, so I will call each of you, and I would like you to, if you can, you put the camera on, you turn it on, and of course the microphone, and you tell us what is your objective. Is that possible? Yes! Okay, so it's possible. So I will use the list here, and I will call Ketja Hun to tell us what is his objective in the next 3 weeks of work with her mentor. And I will tell you who is your mentor, so you will know who you will be working with. Katie, are you there? Do you copy?
Yeah.
Oh, you're here.
Yeah.
So tell us.
In fact, now for my study, I will have the grant for my work. I mean, my project finished at the end of last year. So so far I haven't done any data collection yet, but at May 2021, I will apply for the grant, and then I will start the collection. And my objective is that I want to apply the BIM technology to the irrigation infrastructure development in Cambodia. Now the issue is that we have problem with asset management in the irrigation infrastructure asset management, and the quality control of the irrigation infrastructure.
Yeah.
So
what will you work on with your mentor in the next 3 weeks?
For me, it's the literature review. I want to know the method. Yes, I want to write on the method that I will use to investigate on how the BIM can improve the development of irrigation infrastructure in Cambodia. I want to know that whether this BIM method is applicable in Cambodia context in terms of human resource and human resource, and from the financial aspect as well.
Okay, thank you, Ketja. And your mentor will be Sylvain Maxwell, who you know because he was one of the trainers last year in Phnom Penh. You remember Sylvain? Yeah.
I don't remember him.
Yeah.
He worked in ITC as well or not?
Yes, he works in ITC. Yeah, absolutely.
Okay. Yeah.
So you will work with him. Well, thank you very much, and thank you for not having respected the 30-second rule, but it's fine. The others will. Thank you, Ketia. Now I will ask Kong to, if the connection is good enough, to present us his objectives for these 3 weeks.
Yeah, hello everyone. Yes, good afternoon.
Hi.
Yeah, I would like, in short, for 3 weeks, I hope that my mentor will help me to improve on the paper and article is under preparation. It's about the predictions of land cover change in Tonle Sap basin using a scenario analysis.
Mm-hmm.
It is the whole paper. Now I just finished the abstract, and I will continue and I will send to my mentor. And it's good that my mentor in IDC, I can just contact him, and we even plan for fieldwork for next week as well together. So
Okay.
I can.
Because so if I understood well, you have already written your abstract, but the rest of the paper is not written yet.
Yeah, the rest of the paper is not yet, but
Okay, so maybe you should
I
just
we
forget,
have already the
just
I
maybe you
have
should
all the
forget your
data and
abstract.
result. Yeah, pardon?
Maybe you should forget your abstract, write your paper, and at the end write the abstract. But you will see that with your mentor, who is also Sylvain as well, and who is very close to you. So it will be easier for corrections.
Yeah. Just want to clarify. Actually, based on the training, I understand that the abstract we have to should write later. But this is we already did with the result, and we want to send the abstract for presentation, and they asked, so that I just made an abstract, but I plan to make it into the paper. So that's why I said I already have an abstract to representing the result and the method a little bit on that.
All right, thank you very much, Kong. Thank you.
Thank you.
So now I will ask Lan Huang, who is with us. Just ask his microphone to be reactivated. Lan, are you sleeping?
No, I'm not.
You're not. Okay.
But I'm supposed to go out for a while.
In a while? Okay, so you can just tell us what are your objectives?
I'm supposed to choose e-wallet for mobile commerce.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, but I really don't know where to start with, because I feel that it's too large field. So I just want to form it to start on my article.
So according to what you've written to me earlier, you would like maybe to because you're starting from almost scratch, as I said. You could have the objective to structure your paper, right?
Yeah.
And you said also to form my research field. Oh, okay. So you still have you don't have data yet, do you?
Data?
Do you have data about your object of study?
Haven't yet. I haven't started to collect the data.
You haven't started to collect the data. Okay, so it's okay. All right.
Because
so
I know it's really hard to catch this information.
All right. And your mentor will be, if I'm not wrong, because no, I'm not wrong, will be Ruth Banomyong from Thammasat University.
Thank you.
So I will put you in touch with him in the next few days. Okay?
Yeah. Thank you.
All right. Thank you, Lan. Now I would like to...
My name is Huang. Yeah.
Huang. Sorry. You know, it's when I say Lan, it's Huang, and when I say Huang, it's Lan. I don't know how it works. I'm really sorry. It's very complicated for us. Yeah. Anyway.
The name of my last PhD student, Huang. In fact, my last two, they were both called Huang.
Okay.
At the same time.
I will ask Lai Kong. this time I'm almost sure I'm good. Lai Kong. Because Kong is the first name or second, I don't know. But in this case, when I call him Lai, he's okay with him. So, Lai. Ah, no.
Lai my family name. Lai my family name.
Lai is your family name. So you're Kong. Yeah, like Kong.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So tell us, what are your objectives for the next 3 weeks?
Yeah, I would like the mentor to help me to prepare the questionnaire, to collect data, and data analysis. Because I just start. Yeah. I just started.
You're just starting, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
I learned from scratch. Yeah. Start from scratch.
Well, you're one of the first one in your institution from Rule, huh? If I'm not wrong, being a researcher. Yeah. So you're a pioneer, you know. Huh? Okay, thank you very much, Lai. Kong.
Yeah.
For this. And now I would like Locke to tell us about the next 3 weeks. I like this picture.
Okay. Normally, my objective is improving the structure of my paper. Well, I would like to ask for my mentor that's how to present my methodologies efficiently, the data analysis and findings, and briefly how to write the abstract well. Normally, I have already the data as well as the results, but I don't know how to present them well. Yeah.
Okay, that's good. So basically, you have all the rough data, and you still have to organize it to structure your article, right?
Yeah.
Okay. So let me tell you who you will be working with. Lai, you will be working with Sophie, actually. Sophie, who is online. So this is Kong. Kong will work with Sophie.
Yeah.
And you, Locke,
yes.
You will work with, is it here? Pascal. Oh, Pascal, who is based in, where is he again? In Nouvelle-Calédonie, if I'm not wrong.
Vanuatu.
Vanuatu. Okay, so he's in your, is not that far in terms of time.
Oh, I don't know about that. I think he's 4 hours in front.
Okay, 4 hours in front. So you will have to deal with that. You will wake up early, maybe. But he will be your mentor for these 3 weeks. All right, thank you, Locke.
Yes, thank you. Yeah.
And thank you, Kong. So, oh, okay. The order changed for some reasons. So Li Kwok Dang is he will be working with his own advisor, but it's still interesting to know what are his objectives for the next 3 weeks. Dan. No?
No.
Bon. Dan seems not being here. So Narita, can you please tell us more about your project and your objectives just your objective in the next 3 weeks, not your project.
Yeah, I propose to develop my introductions and methodology, because now I'm the 4th year of a PhD student, major in social science. So in the process of the data collection, the data analysis. So that's why I want to focus and prepare for my thesis and my articles.
Okay. So introduction and methodology and presentation of methodology. Excellent. This is clear. And you you will be working with Busarin. Busarin. Emma, can you talk to us quickly about Busarin, please? She's a young scientist, and apparently she's very dynamic. I don't know her, but
yes, she is a young professor at Chiang Mai University in the north of Thailand.
I know her. Yeah.
Voila. So
you know her.
She's
so fine.
She's very
good.
dynamic, and she was part of a group that where we worked together on how to teach this course. So,
oh, thank you. Good luck for me.
Good.
Thank you.
Good match then. Yes.
Nice.
Now, where am I now? Here. Please, Nguyen. But Nguyen.
Hello?
Oh yes, you're here, Nguyen. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. I would like to ask mentor about the introduction and abstract for my paper. Yes.
Introduction and abstract. Okay.
Yeah.
So your paper is quite advanced. You still need the introduction and the abstract. Is that right?
Right.
Your paper is you're in a phase quite advanced in the writing of your paper. If you just need to finish the introduction and write the abstract, I suppose the rest of it is almost done, right?
Yes.
Okay, so excellent. So hopefully at the end of the 3 weeks, your paper will be finished and almost ready to send to the editor, right?
No.
Oh?
No.
I would have expected that. Well.
Yeah. Okay.
Okay, and you will be working with. Where are you in this list? What a suspense! Oh my God.
Nobody?
Yes, somebody. I just have to find you. You're gonna work with Claire. Claire, who presented yesterday.
Okay.
Okay.
Yes.
So now, please welcome Juan. I hope it's the right name. Juan. Yes.
Yeah.
You're here.
Thank you for your presentation and the other a lot of information used training for me and this week. And in the 3 weeks, I would like to talk about the PhD objective. My study is about analyze between water resources, surface water resources, and discharge from the farming system in the Mekong Delta. Yeah, it's about analyze the land use trend and analyze the water, surface water in the river system. Will it affect to the farmer system because the intrusion and some problem in the Mekong Delta is effect to the agriculture system in there, and I would like to analyze the water resources. The surface water resources will be capacity of water resources and the discharge and discharge of the framing into the water river, and to evaluate the capacity to receive the wastewater from the framing. And because
thank you. Sorry, I have to cut you because time is running, but I understand your objective could be to formulate your problem, to work on the presentation of the question, of your research question, since you're starting your PhD, etc. Okay? Is that right?
Yeah, thank you.
Okay, well, and you will be working with si c'est là, with Umaru. Oh, Umaru, who was the former representative of IRD in Niger. He's a fantastic guy. Lucky you.
He's in my lab. He's lovely.
Yeah.
He's very, very nice. He also participated in the training session where there was Boussarine and Pascal and Umaru. Yes, very nice. Very good.
And because she's in a hurry, we will ask Mai if she can tell us what are her objectives for the next 3 weeks.
Yeah, in the next 3 weeks, I would like to improve my my skill in using qualitative data, because my my research now is focused. I'm using because my research at the moment is just using the qualitative approach, so I would like to use this more frequently, more professional.
Okay, okay, that's clear. So you will work on the interpretation of qualitative data, right?
Right.
Yeah, and analysis of qualitative data, and you will be working with Stéphane, who is close to you as well. So you will he will be able to pressure you every day to be sure you're working twice a day, even maybe. Thank you.
You're not lucky because, as you know, Mai, I will be back in Hanoi soon.
He'll be back.
No, but you know, she's in charge at the international relation for gas for my visa. So you know, we work closely together.
Yeah, thank you so much. Yeah.
I will help you a lot.
Yeah, thank you. I'm sorry, I have to. I leave now. I have to come to.
Okay. Bye bye, Mai. Thank you.
Bye. Yeah. Yeah. Thank you, everyone.
See you in 3 weeks. Yeah. So now I will ask Paitun to tell us what are his objectives.
Yes, okay. My first objective is to make my discussion and conclusion part more concise and direct to the point.
Mm-hmm.
And the second one is I would like to make the statement in my manuscript to be simpler for the readers. That's my 2 objectives.
Okay, perfect. And you will be also working with Boussarine.
Okay. Thank you.
From Chiang Mai University.
Okay, good.
All right, thank you. Paitun. Now, Paola.
Yeah.
What will you be working on in the next 3 weeks?
I would like to clarify the structure of my paper. I'm doing the last experiment, so I have some data, and I'm interested in working with the methodology section, and if it's possible for the time, developing the data presentation, more or less.
Good, this is very ambitious objectives.
Yeah, I know.
But you will be working with, but do you, your name is Paula or Karen? How do you?
Whatever you want, Paula or Karen, it's okay.
It's something, all right. Oh, Paula, you will be working with Emma.
Okay, cool.
And Emma has the privilege to have only 1 student, so she will be 100% dedicated to you.
Perfect. Thank you.
Yeah. All right, great.
The same time zone. That's a good good thing.
Yes, you're right. Yeah, it's true. Putipong.
Yes.
So, Putipong, what are your objectives for the next 3 weeks?
Yeah, let me introduce background 1 minute. I conduct research about motivational for drivers to carpool. in a car. What makes them psychologically to share a seat? So I did one literature reviews. I hypothesized that driver and rider should be different in their motivations. So I did one and sent to transport review, and I got rejected. The comments is about not well written, long introductory section, should write in more concise generally, and at the end, I use still language, which I don't know what it is. So my goal is I need to rewrite the whole thing of this thing and make it publishable.
Okay, okay, perfect. You will be working with D1 who is from a Danish university. And he's an English-speaking speaker, so native English speaker. So it will be helpful for you.
Thank you.
Hopefully. Thank you. Right now, Tuchanok Satayavinit.
Yes.
Ah, you're here. Okay.
Okay. For my objective, I want to write an article and to see that how to organize the paper and chapter of my thesis, because now I don't have any idea to organize the chapter, and just start with the historical part, and that part will become my paper, the first paper. And another part I didn't go to field work yet, so don't have any info like not fruitful information. And in terms of social science and English well structure, so some suggestion from mentor that about how to write the critique paper and logically. Yeah, right.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. So I understood that you are still working on the elaboration of your thesis. So and you don't have data yet, right?
Just almost it from the document and a little bit from interview.
Secondary data and few primary data then. Okay. Yeah. Okay, well, you will see that with your mentor, who is Bussarin as well. Bussarin had 3. But
wow.
It will be.
Yeah. Thank you.
Okay, sure. So did I forget somebody, or has everybody told us how they're gonna suffer the next 3 weeks? Apparently, I did not forget anybody. So
I think Benjamin Trang.
Yes.
Who did I forget?
Me.
Where are you?
Can you hear me?
We can hear you. We can't see you.
I can see Miss Chang. Yes, she's at the top with the
oh yes
Thai flag behind. No, which flag is it behind you?
Yes, Australia flag.
Ah, it's Australia flag. Oh, well.
Yes.
RMIT. Oh yes, you're here.
Yes,
okay.
right.
Why don't you appear in the big screen? Sorry, Chan.
I don't know.
Okay. Okay, so you're here. Tell us.
Yes. Yes. Good morning.
Sorry.
For you. First, good afternoon to our friends. And my objective for the next 3 weeks, I would like to learn how to write a paper on wastewater management in Vietnam. And I already have a draft of that. I already have information from, I interviewed some experts in wastewater management part in Vietnam. And I would like to know how to write a good paper on that.
Okay, so you have a few data and the draft, and from this you would like to structure a solid paper. Right. Okay, okay,
yes, right.
Great, thank you. And I'll tell you, you will be working with, you are, where are you, okay, you will be working with Sophie, who is online also. So she will be a tremendous help for the structuration of the paper, without any doubt.
Okay.
Okay. Well, now did I forget?
That's great.
Huh? Sorry?
That's great.
That's great.
Yeah.
If you're happy, I'm happy. All right. Thank you, Chang.
Yeah, thank you.
So I think now everybody has had the opportunity to announce officially. No? Ah, droga.
You're missing somebody.
Who?
I'm a little surprised. At the beginning of the week, this Monday, you forget me.
Well, you're not a trainee.
You forget the mentor, and at the end of the week, you forget one trainee. I have to be his mentor, his Fu.
But Fu is not here.
I didn't know that.
I can't have.
I didn't know that. You do not mention it. Sorry, my friend.
Yeah, well, you are totally paranoid.
I am. Definitely,
right.
I am.
All right, guys. Well, thank you very much for being still here at the end of this week. It has been quite hard for me, I had to say, to wake up that early every morning, but it has been a pleasure. I hope it has been useful. I really encourage you. I will send you all the material, and I encourage you to cherry pick in it, to take what you need specifically according to your objectives, and really try to take advantage of working with your mentor. It's a real chance for you. It would be a pity not to take advantage of these interactions you can have with them. So I hope it will work. I hope you will be really happy and proud of your work in the next 3 weeks. And in 4 weeks, you will have the opportunity to present what are the results of your work. So keep that in mind. We will need some feedback from you in the week of the 16th of October, if I'm not wrong, or 12, or no, 12 from 16, yeah. I thank also Emma and Sophie who are here, and Claire also, but she's not here, and Stefan as well for his participation. It has been great not being alone, and you have done a tremendous job. I know how hard it is to combine your everyday work with this commitment of presenting and sharing your experience. So thank you very much. And I wish you all a very good day and end of the day for the ones who are in Asia.
It was a pleasure.
All right.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Thank you.
Thank you, guys.
Thank
Have a
you.
good weekend.
Thank
you.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye. Bye.
Thank you.